Hey everybody, it's GobletX, and welcome back to another Premier Draft of Duskmourn, House of Horror. Without further ado, let's get into our Pack 1, Pick 1. We've got a lot of pretty good monocolored uncommons here, and I think the safest picks are any of those. However, if you really love Black-White Reanimator, Shroud Stomper is one of the best targets for that deck. Although, ideally, you want to be the only Reanimator drafter in the pod, so you try to wheel cards like this if you're in a good position to draft that deck. So here we have Fear of Isolation is what I'm going to pick here. I just really like the way that blue plays with all of the rooms primarily, but many good enter effects. So you can play like a bottomless pool, bounce something, then play the Fear of Isolation to pick up the bottomless pool to replay it and bounce another card. It's almost like a 2-mana 2/3 flyer that can almost like draw you a card sometimes, so really good. But the Gremlin's great for red-based aggro, and the green card is good for green-based ramp. There were several good mono-colored uncommons there. For pick number 2, if I really want to play in the room space, I could draft this Intruding Soul Rager really highly here and immediately try to jump onto blue-red. This is my least favorite of the two blue-red uncommons, though. The other one can make a creature with power and toughness equal to the number of rooms that you control, and it's a flying creature as well, so that can be a huge card in late game. I do prefer that if I'm going blue-red, and we have a perfectly safe pick of the Unable to Scream to just stick to mono blue for now, pick our second color later. I think we can go with that. This actually has been playing really well in the format with all the different enchantment synergies. You can get some value just for playing it in the first place, while obviously shutting off their best creature's ability to attack. Technically, it can still attack, but it's a 0/2 with no text anymore. So it sticks around as like a chump blocker if you're an aggressive deck. But if you're playing like all flyers or you're a pretty slow deck, then it plays pretty well, and that's a lot of what blue was doing. Pick 3. Yeah, basically just taking a Fear of Isolation and never looking back, grab another Unable to Scream. And honestly, the Fear of Isolation plays pretty well with that too. Then you can use it in the early game, and if your opponent casts a bigger, better threat later, you can pick it up and put it on there. Alternatively, blue red, again, one of my favorite archetypes in the format. I just think it's really fun. We could take the Glassworks here. This is pretty good red removal, but I think it's safer if the pick is between a good on-color removal and a good off-color removal spell to just take the good on-color removal spell. And for anybody out there who wanted to just force Black-White Reanimator, there's your Ride of the Moth after the big Shroud Stompers. That'd be a good start for that deck too. Pick number 4. What do we got? Tunnel Surveyor is pretty good for any eerie decks. The eerie mechanic cares about enchantments hitting the board or rooms getting unlocked. Tunnel Surveyor is going to give you that glimmer. 3 mana for a 2/2 on a 1/1. Keeps cutting blue here. Alternatively, Glimmerlight's a pretty high pick because it's a solid card in most decks, and it fits into anything since it's colorless. So whatever direction we go, we know we can play it, but I'm very locked into blue, so I know I can play a Tunnel Surveyor as well. I think I'm just going to take that. Pick 5. Maybe towards black. Decent black removal spell, although Trapped in the Screen, I think that's better than the Winter's Intervention here. Yeah, that is the best removal spell in this pack. Might even just be the best card in the pack, period. This is better than Monstrous Emergence and Winter's Intervention as removal. So white looks to be the secondary color to push into, and all of our cards so far would work really well in blue-white because they're all enchantments, and blue-white has a lot of stuff that triggers when you play enchantments, a lot of those eerie cards we've been talking about. So I have 2 Unable to Scream and a Trapped in the Screen already. We have 3 removal spells halfway through pack 1. I think I can pass up on the Seized from Slumber removal to take the really nice top end threat of Fear of Immobility, a large creature that triggers all your eerie stuff and stuns your opponent's best creature. Alright, pick 7. Summer Burst is fine. Friendly Ghost is fine. It's a pretty late Trial of Agony. So we could speculate on red here, passing up on one of these. Wouldn't be missing too much to not have them. But I feel like this is a really, really nice start for blue-white. I see a massive reason to hop out of the color pair. Pretty confident we're going to end up here. I'm going to take the Glimmer Burst. Instant speed, triggering your Eerie cards with a random enchantment hitting the board is pretty great. Pick 8, Underwater Tunnel Slimy Aquarium works great in this archetype. 2 different Eerie triggers, because on either half that you play, you get to trigger your Eerie cards. Keep cutting people off our colors. This is going to be a real basic, real simple draft here. Find our color pair, stick to it. Okay, maybe not. Now I wish I speculated red. Soul Rager wields the entire pod. We could have had that red removal spell over the Glimmer Burst. 3 cards into white, one of which is incredibly filler. The Hardened Escort doesn't do anything for that color pair. There's a lot of black as well. Yeah, this is not working out too well. That speculation would have panned out incredibly well. Then we have 2 really nice paths to take, blue-red rooms or blue-white Eerie. We'll see how bad we get punished for it here. If we open up a red rare, that's going to be real sad, because then we're blue-red rooms and we're never looking back. But we'll see. Okay, alright. Not punished in the slightest. We open up a blue-white rare. Restricted Office and Lecture Hall. So destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater. That's the one you really want to build around. Lecture Hall doesn't do much of anything. But if your deck is mostly creatures power 2 or less, then that can be a one-sided board wipe. So it's really good against green decks. Actually pretty bad against most aggro decks in the format, though, because there's plenty of 2/2s with Manifest Dread. The Boros decks play almost exclusively creatures with power 2 or less. This might actually be a lot worse than it looks. Yeah, maybe I'm still supposed to just take, like, Unwilling Vessel here. Because we're 100% in blue. Glimmer Seeker's pretty good, too. If we do go blue-white. You know what? I feel like there's a lot of scenarios where this is not going to play particularly well, that Restricted Office. It's got to be a complete blowout the times when it does play super well. But got to make up for the games where it just actively doesn't do anything. So here's a Gremlin Tamer. It's looking like we would have been great to be blue-white or blue-red, because, again, there I could have taken, like, Scorching Dragonfire into Betrayer's Bargain here and just have premium removal, which is huge. Yeah, and then more with Betrayer's Bargain number 2. But Tunnel Surveyor number 2 also looks good for us. Do we think blue's open enough to take Veteran Survivor instead? Maybe, but Survivor doesn't have any enchantment synergies, and we can go almost all enchantments in this deck. Taking cards like Tunnel Surveyor, so I'm just gonna lead with that still. We are not gonna make it 7 mana, or sorry, 9 mana, but we are definitely gonna be happy to have a second Gremlin Tamer. Makes me feel really happy to be in this color pair. This card is one of the best reasons to be in the color pair. Completely absurd, getting a 1/1 every time you do anything. Every time you breathe, every time you eat a snack, go to the restroom, you're spitting out 1/1s. Alright, sorry, red cards. We have an excellent blue-white core to this deck. We can treat the Slimy Aquarium as a 4-mana creature. It's a 4-mana 3/3 with extra enchantment synergies attached. What do we have here? We've got Casper and a counterspell. Playing a really proactive, really aggressive deck here where we're just tapping out and slamming things on board, so counterspells get worse. I'm going to take the Friendly Ghost. Just not going to have the untapped mana for the counterspells super often. Pick 6, another Glimmerlight, super playable here. Another great synergy piece for our Fear of Isolation. Haven't seen any meat lockers this draft, weirdly enough. Those would have been pretty decent in here. Third Glimmerlight or first Unsettling Twins? Unsettling Twins doesn't hit any synergy, and we already have 3 4-drops. Could be wrong here, but we'll just play infinite copies of Glimmerlight. Stock Researcher. It's got enough enchantments in here that should usually be attacking. Might not be completely unplayable. Not super in love with these manifest equipment things. We'll take the Researcher. Pick 9. We will not play any of this, but we'll take the on-color card. Ooh, pick 10, Unable to Scream. I was going to say we haven't gotten any removal since pack 1, so we're starting to look kind of low. Didn't even have to say it out loud to get it back. We got Unable to Scream and Betrayer's Bargain. It's wild. Do I want to play like 6 copies of Glimmerlight by the end of this draft? Because it'll be funny. Kind of do. I kind of do. That's a great rare to open. That is an instant speed enchantment creature. So we can flash this onto the board and trigger our eerie cards out of nowhere. Plus, you get to attack in, and if your opponent doesn't block something, then you flash this in, and whatever hits them lets you draw a card. This card is very good, and I'm happy to open it here. And our deck looks really good at getting just a wide board of 1/1s so something gets in. And now we got the Inquisitive Glimmer. Beautiful, beautiful card for this deck, making all our enchantments and our unlock abilities cost 1 less while being an enchantment itself to trigger Gremlin Tamer. It's a huge pickup. I think Fear of Abduction is good as well, but the Glimmer is just so powerful, so synergistic for this deck. We cannot risk not getting it. It's possible that we don't wheel it, not because anybody else is in blue-white, but just because by the time that 8 cards have been picked out of this pack, somebody will just hate draft it or draft it for their collection by then, right? Let's take a FOMO, a Liver Die, a Beastie, and Under the Skin. I guess Fear of Abduction would be in there. Tunnels Rare. There's like 6-ish good cards. Yeah, somebody could end up taking it even if they're not blue-white. Pretty hard to wheel stuff with play boosters now that we're down to just like 13 or 14 cards a pack instead of the old 15. Pack 3, pick 3. Another Fear of Immobility looks pretty great, but so does a Glimmer Seeker. We have so many Glimmer tokens in this deck that this is just going to be survival draw a card if it survives. The blue-white duel wouldn't be bad either, but I'm just going to take spells over the land. I don't think it's going to be super necessary in just a 2-color deck to grab some fixing. Alright, we get the Fear of Immobility later anyway. Excellent. That makes me feel real good to have the Seeker and a second Fear of Immobility. Deck's looking beautiful. We get a pick 5 Inquisitive Glimmer. We get 2 of each Signpost uncommon in this color pair. 2 Gremlin Tamer, 3 Gremlin Tamer, 2 Inquisitive Glimmer. Let's go. I can play 3 Fear of Immobilities when I have 2 cards in the deck, making it cheaper. Oh, this is going to be nasty. Tiny bit low on removal. We have 4 removal spells, 3 Unable to Scream, 1 Trapped in the Screen. But whatever, I mean, this deck looks awesome. Five premium Signpost uncommons. Almost every game, we're going to be hitting one of these turn 2. We can start cutting some of the random non-synergy cards, like Hardened Escort would just help Glimmer Seeker get in. We only have the one really good survival creature, and everything else in the deck is just really good eerie cards. So we want to just cut everything that like isn't an enchantment creature, isn't eerie focused. Rather than running a couple random survival synergy cards, we'll just hope for the best with Glimmer Seeker and like a random removal spell or something. So cut these non-eerie cards. 4th Unable to Scream, or a Vanish from Sight, that would also work fine. I'm just going to go all enchantment removal here. 4 unable to scream, 1 trapped in the screen. So we get to play our removal spells and get a 1/1 like every time. Got so many 2-drops here, I probably have to drop a Researcher and a Glimmerlight or something. Now these feel like the last cuts. Oh, and we got a Meat Locker. I didn't even notice it was in this pack because we had non-color rare. I'm very happy to take a Meat Locker Drown Diner in this deck as our 6th non-creature spell. And then everything else is creatures. Yeah, cut some combination of these. And just get ready to go with this deck. Got a nice aggressive curve, and 2 of the 5-drops in our deck can have their cost reduced, potentially, with the double Inquisitive Glimmer. So I do not mind the 16 lander here. So that would be 3 cuts total. When we get to the deck building. All right, and here we go. So we have 15 creatures and 4 Glimmerlights. That's 19 creatures, and a Slimy Aquarium that's 20 creatures, and Glimmer Burst sort of counts. 21 creatures. We could cut exclusively creatures here and still have basically 17. So I think we're going to do that. We're going to cut some combination of these spells here, these creature-like spells. Definitely want to keep the Underwater Tunnel Slimy Aquarium for the double Eerie and having another room in this deck. Reduce that unlock with the Glimmer. It's pretty good. Stocked Research is probably the only creature left that's filler enough to maybe cut instead of something else. I do need to keep in mind that Fear of Isolation is not really a 2-drop. We don't really want to play it till at least turn 4 when I can recast a Glimmerlight that I pick up, but usually turn 5 so I can pick up a 3-drop like a Tunnel Surveyor or a Meat Locker and replay that. But I'll put it at 4 on the curve here. Do I have any card draw outside of Glimmerburst? I've got an Enduring Curiosity. And a Drown Diner. All my Eerie triggers just make 1/1s. That's all I have for cards that actually make Eerie triggers. I guess the Unwilling Vessel would make a bigger spirit when it dies. Actually, this has been playing consistently pretty bad for me. Feels like every time I run it out, it just trades off. It just gets exiled immediately. But that's true of a lot of pretty good cards. You just play it and then it dies to removal. If it sticks around, it's great value. But maybe that is the next card on the chopping block. I think it's worse than every other creature in the deck, actually. Four cuts. So I can go a land in 3 of these cards, or I can cut 4 of these cards so that I get up to the 5 mana more often. I think double Glimmer. I'm going to cut a land here. 3 cards. 8 2-drops if I cut the Stocked Researcher. Or if I cut a Glimmerlight and keep the Stocked Researcher. 8 feels like a pretty good count for a super aggressive deck like this. Like 7's probably more than enough still. Yeah, I could cut Glimmerlight Researcher. Maybe 4 Unable to Scream is overkill also. What if we just played 3 of that? Let's Go 3 Screams. Two Glimmer Lights. Yeah, I'm not sure on the final adjustments to the deck. But overall, I mean, the cards we've drafted here are incredible. I'm just not sure, because our last additions to the deck are all, like, good cards that are pretty equally good. You know, I did say it would be funny. We can go max humor mode. Go maximum humor mode. I'm going to drop the Researcher and the Glimmer Burst, and I'm just going to run 4 Glimmer Lights. Whatever. That'll be a way to fix it. Just make it funny. If you don't know how to make it as good as possible, make it as funny as possible. And maybe those two will be the same thing. We have 15 blue cards and 10 white. 8-8 split here. Got double blue with Curiosity, double blue with Drowned Diner. I have no white cards that need double white. So we'll go 7-9 then. It's going to be real sad when we miss the white source for these premium 2-drops. But then we have 4 2-drops that are always castable no matter what mana we hit. So yeah, 9-7 split looks right for the deck. We will call it a deck here, hop into the gameplay, and see how it does. All right, here we are for game 1 with a mono blue opener, but a pretty good hand. Tunnel Surveyor into Enduring Curiosity could get us some card draw, especially if we were on the play. On the draw here, it's going to be a little less likely, but we'll keep it here. Plenty castable spells. Nope, found a Glimmer Light. There's a 2-drop. I guess we do have like 9 2-drops in this deck at this point. 4 Glimmer Light, and then 5 of the Signpost uncommons, but we don't have the white source in his hand if we hit any of those Signpost uncommons. Oh, I hate Survival as a mechanic. It's so much better on the play than on the draw, because then we don't have the big enough creature to block this and kill it without trading. And then they get to just draw cards and snowball card advantage for being on the play. Now they can even just move this Windbreaker over to the Cartographer. Yeah, it's going to be pretty annoying. I think I'm going to spread out for Enduring Curiosity here so I can slam that down next turn and draw as many cards as possible towards white sources. Let's see the trick. At least it gets some mana here. Okay, no trick. Just drew them 1 card, but still, 2 mana, 2/2 draw a card's a pretty good deal. Bouldering Gem, just some mana ramp. Oh, perfect. We get to draw 2 cards. No competition whatsoever. Can even just sorcery speed the Curiosity. We'll still flash it in. It's fancier. Hum num num. Plains. And another Unable to Scream. These are some good ones. I could cast an Unwilling Vessel and 2 Unable to Scream in the same turn. So that even if they kill it immediately when we pass back, we're getting a 2/2 flyer out of it. If they don't play any good creatures, or if they just play like 1 good big creature, we can just stun it with Fear of Immobility. Okay, there's another Manifest, 2/2. There's the Fear of Infinity. They're going to hold off on blocks to try to stop us from drawing cards. Is there any way we can make it happen and we can guarantee draw a card here? I do not think so. I mean, the Fear of Infinity can't block, so actually yes, if I attack with all 3 creatures, I will draw a card. So if I just stun one of the manifested cards, they can't kill Enduring Curiosity anymore, so I sack a single 1/1 to deal 5 and draw a card. Sack a 1/1, deal 5, draw a card. Sounds like a plan to me. Yeah, I wasn't noticing earlier that that Fear of Infinity can't actually block. That's a huge deal right now. This Enduring Curiosity has drawn us 4 cards now. My lord. 3 of which have been removal spells. Flip up a Zimone so they can play land 7 and then get a 7/7. I can trap the 7/7 in the screen and then it never comes back even if they blow up trapped in the screen. And then we just make Zimone a 0/2 with no abilities by the time we're worried about land 9 coming in. So I don't even have to do it this turn. I could wait a turn. And the only way that they would get another creature here would be if they play a ramp spell like another Moldering Gem so that they get to play 2 lands next turn. Oh, 9's not a prime number. I'm stupid. This is a problem with making math cards. I'm not going to know what any of them do. They need 11 lands before they get another creature? Okay, so we just don't even worry about Zimone. Alright, I mean, I have to trapped in the screen this thing. If I unable to scream it, it's still actually make it bigger. It's a 7/9 instead of a 7/7. So I don't get to Gremlin Tamer. Mild bummer, but this is certainly worth it. Do I unable to scream this face down, or do I just Glimmer Light up the 1/1? Just Glimmer Light up the 1/1. I could do both, actually. Because unable to scream also stops it from flipping later, if it is something that's any good. Then I actually get to keep the Glimmer on board, which is kind of important. I'm running out of creatures and I need to keep hitting my opponent, so let's just keep them all on board this way. Uh-oh, unless combat trick. Okay, no combat trick, we just draw 1 card. It's land for turn, you love to see it. I can shut off the Fear of Infinity, but then they have another blocker. So I don't think I'm going to. At least not until I have like a Gremlin Tamer on board as well. I guess it is stopping 2 damage a turn already. Instead of just like stopping 4 damage one time by chumping. Yeah, no, unable to scream on Fear of Infinity actually does seem pretty bad though, right? Because then they just chump with it and then it's in their graveyard, so the next time they play an enchantment, they just get it back anyway. Okay, Fear of Abduction is nasty here. But now they're down to a single 1/1 if I turn that into a 0/2. I wonder if I turn it into a 0/2 with no abilities and then it dies, do the cards come back or no? Guess we'll probably find out because I kind of have to unable to scream it here. Which is a massive threat right now. It only costs 1 mana to do that, so I can play a Glimmerlight and equip it and do that, or I can play a 3-drop and do that. Kind of need to play Unwilling Vessel, ideally. I guess I don't get any damage in unless I play Glimmerlight to put another equipment on this 1/1. Yeah, sorry, unwilling vessel. You're gonna miss an Eerie trigger. Actually, you're gonna miss 2 Eerie triggers. Are we about to find out what happens if they chump with Fear of Abduction? With no text anymore? They keep hovering it. I think they want to figure it out too. Nope. We're just gonna get damage in. Am I gonna want to move this anywhere? They probably spread out the 2/2s, right? Fractured Realm. If their triggered abilities trigger, they do it twice, so I get milled 4 right now. And then if they Mirror Room, they get 2 copies of things. This is bad. This is capital B bad. Can they Mirror Room? They can Mirror Room the Fear of Abduction, and I believe they get the initial stats down and just exile 2 of my creatures. So we'll see. It's gonna be bad times. Vessel, surveyor, movement equipment, right? $14 cards left. Oh god, what if they Mirror Room the Skull Crab? Oh my god. Fractured Realm Fear of Abduction, if it's gonna give them the initial thing, they're gonna get freaking 4 exiles. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah. Fractured Realm Fear of Abduction is insane. Also gonna be 4 mills from the Skull Crab. Oh no, they're picking the Skull Crab? So I'm gonna get milled out. Completely, just immediately. 10 cards left? That's like, what, milled 12? Oh, well, that was a dumb way to lose, but at least it was funny. I guess we'll get Mythic Crab Wombo comboed with the Fractured Realm. Yeah, I think we did all we really could there. Couldn't have gotten more damage in by then. We kind of had to Trapped in the Screen the 7/7. We had no way to like sneakily kill the crab. If I had like another Unable to Scream, I could like get 2 damage on the crab and then Unable to Scream it post-combat. I don't know. That was funny. Congratulations to opponent for doing one of the silliest things I've ever seen happen in this format. Shame it was against me, though. 0-1 heading into game 2. They milled me like 30 cards. They did so much overkill mill. The beautiful hands continue today. Mono blue into mono white. Got the Glimmer Light, and any land gives us Fear of Immobility. However, 4 land opener is pretty easy to flood, so a 4 land mono color opener That feels a little extra bad. We're gonna mull that. Don't 0-3 this deck like this, Arena. Please don't 0-3 this deck like this. I can't keep the 4 blue spells. The only white spell's 5 mana. 5 card opening hand, and we desperately need the Enduring Curiosity to get us back in the game. Or we are down almost 3 cards here because we're on the play, so they're on the draw. They get that extra draw step. And we mulled twice. Green-red from our opponents. Got the curve if we make it to 5 mana. We got the 3-4-5 here. Twitching Doll. Well, since Enduring Curiosity is instant speed, it does automatically bluff as a combat trick to where they won't want to block because they don't want to lose the Twitching Doll, and then I get to draw 2 cards here. And now, we actually had a 7-card hand the whole time. And they're probably going to blow up the Curiosity immediately. So it doesn't actually do rare-worthy stuff. Well, yeah, okay, I was going to say, unless they exile it, we actually do still draw the cards, so they exile it. Tragic. Might unable to scream the Twitching Doll. It's going to stop them from getting like a million spiders later, and stop their mana for now, slow them down a little bit. That feels like it's worth an unable to scream. Yep, certainly if it's the only creature on board, it's going to be worth the unable to scream. Well, no longer the only creature, but I think it's better than a 3-3 with basically no abilities at this point. It's just a 3-3. It can mill them 1 a turn, but they're already at Delirium, so they don't even need to mill. I don't think we got a much better line than this. Good Fear of Mobility my own Glimmer Seeker to draw a card. That's very late game thoughts, though. Okay, Fungus doesn't do too much right now, but we need to keep that in mind for the Fear of Mobility. Oh, right! It can blow up Unable to Scream. God dang it. They are back towards getting infinite spiders. Here's the removal for the Gremlin Tamer. Fear of Isolation. Barely does anything here. It's a flying threat, that's something, but the spiders have reach. God dang it. Just getting out-rared. Maybe off of a 7-card opener. Like, if we had this opening hand, but we had 7 cards, those extra 2 cards would have been enough to have, like, a second removal spell for the Twitching Doll and win us this game. Another Unable to Scream or another Trapped in the Screen. I mean, technically, until they sack the doll, I'll always have another draw step to get to it. So yeah, I've got another draw step. I could find one of the other 3 removal spells. I might have to just stun it to buy another draw step as well. Which is awkward. I'm gonna stun it. Just buy another draw step, because we can block like everything else all day long. As long as these spiders don't pop out. Okay. Yeah, literally just... If we can stop the doll, we're gonna win. But if not, we are gonna lose. And it's still the state of the game, it looks like. Mm. 4-4 is kind of a roadblock for everybody else. We think this is better. And that certainly does not stop it. Maybe 5-5 Fear of Immobility was worth attacking with instead of 3-4 Fear of Isolation. Attack with both. The Twitching Doll's ability is instant speed too, isn't it? Oh no, the spider thing is sorcery. That's good. Okay. At least they have to cash it in before they know if I draw a removal spell. They can't like cash it in response to a removal spell. What kind of monumental combat trick is this? Show me the giant trick, I guess. Maybe better just throw a 1-1 there and take 4 instead of 3. Okay, it's just win 1 combat. Fair enough. Cash in the spiders. Well, nobody gets to attack. We're in a top deck war. Which means the game's still winnable if we are luckier than our opponent. But we have to be significantly luckier than them because they get the first draw step here. I mean, I guess we can... Oh, Jesus Christ. We can leverage triple Glimmerlight now towards trading smaller creatures up, like the 1-1 token. I can make the 1-1 token a 4-4 and start just attacking with a single 4-4 token every turn. Try to kill one of their bigger creatures with my small thing. Like kill the 3-3 beastie with my 1-1 glimmer. I have to keep my blocks good though, so I don't think I can do that right now. Can I? I want to have 1 mana up ideally, so I can have a 4-4 Glimmer Seeker block a Thresher. So I could have all the Glimmer Lights on Fear of Isolation. That would be a 6-7? That's actually big enough. Hold the phone. Oh no, it'd be a 5-6. It's 1 off. Shoot. Oh, it's so close. 5-6. Kill 2 spiders with it. I guess I just start suiting up the Glimmer Seeker to where that's going to attack and kill 2 of their creatures, no matter what later. But for now, it's just going to be a 6-6 on blocks against a 5-4, since they're playing off the top. I mean, I guess they can block with a 5/4 and a 3/3 against a 6/6. But then I get to kill the Thresher, which is a really important creature. Alright, 2 for 2 on the draws, and we are also 2 for 2 on the draws. Alright, they have to kill this thing. Now they can block it with a Piggy Bank and a Watchdog, though. Those both have death triggers. It's kind of annoying. Well, we killed 2 creatures with one of ours, which is the rate we want to keep things going here. And here's a 4/4 to block the 5/4. And then send him with that next turn and kill a 3/3 with it. They surveilled to the top, by the way. When their Watchdog died, they didn't put in the grave, so that's 3 for 3. Maybe we're also 3 for 3. Oh my god. It's ridiculously good. Not only did they hit 3 spells in a row, but that one was insanely good. Well, we hit 3 spells in a row, which is something, but this one's way worse than Fear of Burning Alive. Four, 5 blocker against the 4/4 for now. Or 2 menace. Here's our miss. They probably missed this card. This is probably their 1 land out of their 5 draws at this point, because they got the extra Thresher draw. Make a 6/5. Do I have to just sit and wait? I feel like I have to just sit and wait. I don't think I want to do the Unwilling Vessel attack until I get at least like 1 Eerie trigger for it. I can send a 4/4 in to kill their 3/3 though. I have toughness against a 4-power creature, and here's another 4-power creature in case that dies. They probably have to block now, but my 1/1 is just killing their 3/3 and nothing else, because they block with a 3/3 and a 2/2. I actually feel like it might not even be worth attacks if they go for that block. So maybe I shouldn't have even attacked last turn, but it got damage in last turn. At this point at 8 life, it probably doesn't get through. I probably do finally take that trade. I can make this a 6/5. Kill 2 creatures with that. 3/3 and a 2/2. They're down to 4 creatures on board against our 3. I think I'm just doing it at this point. I guess they could double block with the 4/4 and the 3/3, and then I just kill the 4/4. Is 4 Glimmerlights actually the play? Alright, cool. That fear out of here. Oh, I guess they don't even have a 4-power creature anymore. Just make a 4/4 then. Yeah, that hand that feeds is actually pretty bad for me by now. Shoot, yeah, I guess that is kind of a 4-power creature. We did need to have Fear of Isolation still be juicy so I could double block and they just kill the Glimmer. That was bad. I took an extra 4 damage for that. Found that, though. That's a huge draw. Can't play both halves. I only have 7 mana. I need 8 for both. I'm going to get another blocker here. I think I can afford to not meet blocker. And I can play any 2-drop I draw. And I've got a lot in the deck, so I probably hit one. Get another Gremlin Tamer trigger. Yep. Oh, and another Gremlin Tamer. When I meet blocker next turn. That's going to be silly. Now I can block hand that feeds with a 4/4 Glimmer and a 1/1 Gremlin. Whew. Well, their good draws all really clumped up early, it looks like, in this top deck war. I shouldn't open my mouth. But at least we were playing aggressive enough to clear out the first Fear of Burning Alive before this happened. This might be lethal, though, because Menace? Oh my god, it's lethal. Oh my god. It's exact lethal if they all attack. Don't do it. Oh, thank god. Okay. If they attacked with everybody, I didn't have enough blockers to live. Because I'd have to double block that or take lethal. Double blocking that means I'd have 2 blockers elsewhere, and I would die. Oh boy. Alright, and now we're just... Now this is pod racing. Unless they have another deal 4 to my face card. Feeling pretty locked in. I need to draw that for that Fear of Burning Alive to feel safe. So I think I'm not using Slimy Aquarium then, so that I know I can draw that. Instead, I'm just using Meat Locker and Glimmerlight a bunch. I think I still just tap it, even though I'm gonna make it suck next turn anyway. Well, a 3/3. Is the draw a third copy of Fear of Burning Alive? If we die to another deal 4 to the face, that's on us. We could have won the game. Because our Glimmer Lights were in the wrong spot earlier. To where we couldn't afford to double block one hand attack, and that one hand attack was 4 damage. We would be at 8 right now instead of 4. Most Valuable Slayer's annoying here. I guess we can actually just use... Aww. Just use Unable to Scream on Most Valuable Slayer. Because this doesn't actually damage my face, it damages my creatures when they damage my face. And if they damage my face, I'm gonna die anyway, so... I think we actually play around that. Oh boy. Kill, take 6, go to 2. Attack all next turn. Oh no, they've got a chumper too. Got no more enchantments on board though. Yeah, I'm gonna let them kill the Gremlin Tamers to just lock in next turn lethal, unless they draw something that kills so many creatures, they're just gonna die next turn anyway, so... I think pushing the extra damage is worth it here. Because the only stuff that's going to stop us from lethaling them next turn would also just like win them the game, like a Pyroclasm or something, for 2 damage to everybody. Oh, sketchy game there. Sketchy game there. Played a little loose. Luckily, a couple of our opponents' misplays stacked up a little farther for them. They did miss lethal barely at one point. That was the big one. But we made plenty of errors in that game as well, so we were just lucky enough that ours did not stack into the loss in the end. They did not find another deal 4 card, and we drew really well in that end game. We got all 3 Gremlin Tamers, and we needed all 3 to kind of close out that game. All right, wild stuff, but we do win the game. We are 1-1 heading into game number 3. Did decide to swap the deck around a tiny bit between games. Since we are the 16 land build and the Unable to Screams have been playing very well, I've swapped out our third Fear of Immobility for another Unable to Scream as we head into game 3. Right, here we are on the draw for game 3. Still trying to do our incredible enduring curiosity stuff. Got a Glimmerlight to attack in with, hopefully draw into some more creatures. Fear of Isolation counts, because I can play Glimmerlight on 2 and then Fear of Isolation on 3, and then the Flyer is pretty likely to connect, especially against a green deck, for the Enduring Curiosity next turn. Ooh, however, now they play no creatures, and I can just roll out with Unwilling Vessel. They missed a land drop here. And this way, I get all the eerie triggers for the Vessel. Alright, well, they kept a monocolored 2-lander, missed 2 lands, and just left the game. It happens sometimes. I guess we are 2-1, heading into game number 4. Alright, here we are now on the play, but I really need to draw a land. 2-3 drops. I'm still going to keep it, obviously. We have both our colors. We got a Glimmer Light. But we are Craven land number 3 by turn 3. Clockwork Percussionist. It's going to chip in for a lot of damage, and when it trades off, they draw a card. Probably not the end of the world to just trade a Glimmer into it. Could trade an Unable to Scream into it as well. That would stop it from drawing a card, but I'm sure there'll be better targets like Undead Sprinter for later. Although, they're Rakdos, so they're a sack deck that can just sacrifice this if I enchant it. If I trapped in the screen, it should be more difficult for them to deal with that. Blowing up an enchantment when you're playing black-red should be somewhat difficult. Saw Blade, Skin Ripper. Sack another creature enchantment, put a +1/+1 counter on it at the beginning of the end step. If you sacked one or more, deals damage to any target. Wow. Okay, that's filthy. So they can still sack it for value if I make it an 0/2, but I need to stop that ability from doing anything, so I'm going to. Oh no! Well, I can definitely get my Glimmer Seeker to get a survival trigger and draw me a card here. I could Surveil before I do that, but I want to make sure I have the 3 mana up to move a Glimmerlight and then have 3 play a Tunnel Surveyor. Just 2 to activate. I don't even think I actually need to put the Glimmerlight on the Glimmer Seeker to do that, because the only way they kill it is Skin Ripper for it. I don't mind that trade. Yeah. I feel like that trade is profitable. Ew. Well, this is way better than if I equipped a Glimmerlight, because then that would have done absolutely nothing. They still block the exact same way. Yeah, turn inside out is such a gross trick. 1 mana. Eat the Seeker, get a 2/2. That might be the play of the game there. Feel very far behind now. This deck's filthy. 2 Skin Rippers in a row. I guess we have 5 of our signpost uncommons in this deck, so we're one to talk, but we didn't draw any of them this game. So our deck does not look as filthy as it is right now. Let's see if that bad boy's got 3 toughness if they flip it up. Nope. Cool. Hello, Razorkin. Three blockers hanging out. So they could, like, they have 1 card they can sack for sure. If they get more sack fodder, you could sack like 3 cards in 1 turn to this to shoot something for 3. Yeah, that is wild. I want to play the Rakdos sack deck sometime soon. I just haven't been able to pick up the Skin Rippers. I'm sure I've had plenty of opportunities to pick them up, but I haven't seen them go like late during pack 1 recently to send me in that direction. All right, and there's all the sack fodder. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. Incredibly good cards are incredible. 2 mana to flip our face down, and then it's a 3/4. I think we're going kind of wide here. If they have any removal, I don't want to make our face down a big target here because it has a pretty good ability for when we draw the Meat Locker. Then we'll have the mana to play it and the Drowned Diner in the same turn if it's still on board. And the Skin Ripper with the Menace as well to force double blocks plays super well with that turn inside out combat trick. Sacking lands to draw cards. Which triggers Skin Ripper also. Wow, yeah, so they get to kill my 1/1 Glimmer. Shoot. I guess there could have been an argument for just making the 1/1 a 2/2. But then I wouldn't have the mana to flip up my face down right now. Because I would have had to make both these 1/1s 2/2s to survive that. And they sacked 2 cards anyway. So they can deal 2 damage anyway. To any target. Alright, yeah, see, so they still would have killed the thing. We're not really going to trick them with this thing. And if they have removal, it's going into Gremlin Tamer, so let's just flip that up now. In fact, this might be wrong, but get this as far out of reach of the Skin Ripper as possible. They have to have like actually a removal spell in their hand to deal with it instead of just doing some sack nonsense again. They have actually a removal spell. Damage, man. Probably let the Glimmer trade into the Razorkin to buy time at this point. Shut off the Menace. I guess I could have not activated that and just double equipped the Glimmer. 8 life. Yeah, no, I'm dead to the +3/+0 trick. I need to just block Razorkin. Yeah, it's probably better not to activate the Diner. Just equip all the Glimmer Lights. Let's see if we can stop the flood here. We don't have a Razorkin of our own. Final draw step. That's incredibly dead. Both of their threats have Menace, and they're both 4 power, so they just both sneak past even if they don't activate any abilities. And their deck is incredibly well positioned for this matchup, where it's going to sack everything we've unable to scream to draw extra cards now. Alright, well, that was a devastating matchup. That is a very strong build of the Rakdos Sacrifice deck, and Rakdos Sacrifice is already really good against the blue removal spells and stunning and stuff. You can just still sack the stuff for value, so not the deck we wanted to see there. 2-2 heading into game number 5. All right, here we are for game 5. We are 2-2 right now. So we gotta rally into a lot of victories here to get this deck the record I think it deserves. Had some awkward openers, but I think we keep this on the draw. We just need any land in the deck to get going. And Plains works super well. Stop all the early damage and just slow the game down here. I'm not doing anything else till turn 3. I'm just going to do this. And it doesn't get its death trigger or anything. Uh-oh. Maybe punished. There's a 3-2 haste turn 2 for absurd damage. You know what else we're getting punished by? Being on the draw. Looks like that was a mistake here. They played a haste creature turn 1 and turn 2. Curve out with a creature all 3 turns. Oh, it's one of those curves, isn't it? Just curve out and impact the board every single turn, starting from turn 1 until you die. GG, nothing you can do. Oh, man. This deck's better than a 2-3. That sucks. Valvagoth's Onslaught is the top of this ridiculous curve. Pretty sure that is genuinely unstoppable. Even if neither of those are creatures. Straight into one of them here. Yep. Go to 2 life, but then if neither of these are creatures, play a Tunnel Surveyor, block one with a 2-2, the other with 2/1/1s. Wait, no, I can't do that because that's a 4/4 anyway. Jesus. They're all creatures. All right, that wasn't really a game. 2-3 it is, I guess. That sucks. That's very sad. Curve out from our opponent on the play. Our other 2 losses were pretty rough as well. The Rakdos matchup is not super winnable. We've had some bad variance here with our draws as well. I think this deck is way better than it did. I think this is more of a 5 or 6-3 deck on average. Maybe not quite a 7 winner. I don't know. I think we just got really lucky today more than anything. Triple Gremlin Tamer, double Glimmer. Plenty removal to go with them. A little bit of stun. The Curiosity's a great rare. Yeah. We just hit some rough games here. I don't think that really says much about the deck's power level. I think we just ran into insanity from our opponents. And some variance, and that'll do it. That's magic. Can't imagine this deck doing much lower than a 2-3 run. I don't know. Maybe there's some distinct weakness of this deck that I'm not seeing, but this looks way stronger than some of the decks I've gotten a 7-win run of. in this format. I think we just had a bad run, and that is part of Magic. 2-3 it is as the final record. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.